Hello everybody, welcome back to the second episode of this Pokemon LeafGreen NUZLOCKE. Second attempt technically, since we lost on the first battle of the first attempt. Just to give you an idea of what my team looks like now. Here we are, so we got Wormy the Caterpie at level 6, Windy the Mankey at level 7, Brendan the Squirt at level 9. So I said I was going to grind them off camera a little bit up to about level 6, which is what I did. I also was in the mart there because I was buying 4 antidotes because getting poisoned in the Nuzlocke is basically just a death sentence for the Pokemon because you know, if we get poisoned we wouldn't be able to walk back all the way to the Pokemon Center without dying from it. In the newer games that's not really an issue because you usually can get like cured of the poison. But we're back in Gen 3. I don't know what that was. I was holding left and it just went up. Yeah, we're back in Gen 3 now, so different rules apply. Some differences with Gen 3 that we don't see in the newer games, just in case you're not aware. Probably the biggest one is that I'm gonna try using Caterpie here. Probably the biggest one is that there's no physical special split on moves. So what that means is that whether a move is physical or special depends on the type of the move rather than the move itself. So like in the newer games, Thunder Punch for example would be a physical attack, but in this game because it's a thunder type move it's just a special attack by default. So that makes a lot less Pokemon like useful. Shoot. Alright, I'm gonna risk a tackle here. Alright, cool. We're kinda getting dangerously low there. A crit would have taken us out. I'm gonna have to switch here. So yeah, a lot less Pokemon are useful because of that. For example, Gengar. Ghost type was actually a physical attack, strangely enough. And Gengar has high special attack but low physical attack, so he can't really make good use out of his moves. Another big one is Gyarados. Gyarados has high physical attack, but in this generation water type moves are all special attacks. So he's not able to make use of his high physical attack and his boost for using the same type of attack called Stab. You know, as well as some other Pokemon can. Feraligatr has that same issue, though we don't really use Feraligatr in Gen 3 as much. So, that's probably the biggest difference that was changed in Gen 4. Obviously I would still use one of those Pokemon, we just wouldn't be able to use them to their full potential. So let me see here. I'm gonna keep Wormy up front and switch him out. I don't want to keep walking back to the Pokemon Center like every battle. I'm definitely gonna need to switch him out here. To who though? Brennan's probably the safer choice. Windy could probably take him out, but if she gets poisoned, we would have to switch into Brendan here anyway. So I'm gonna go with this. We'll just bubble him. And that should, hopefully it'll decrease his speed a little too. Not that that's that important. Some other changes with Gen 3. Gen 3 was the first generation to introduce abilities and natures and all that. So that's all here. I haven't actually looked at the abilities. And I'm not really one to fuss over natures. It really doesn't matter in a Nuzlocke anyway because you don't get to pick which Pokemon you have, so natures and IVs and stuff, it's like whatever you're stuck with. Good thing we bought an antidote. But I'll take a look at them once this battle is over anyway. But yeah, I'm not one to usually fuss over EVs, IVs, natures, that kind of stuff because I'm not usually interested in competitive. Now the question is, do we want to cure that poison? I think we can handle it. Might end up having to use a potion though, because it's gonna keep wearing us down. Other changes. I know in the newest Pokemon game, you can access your PC from anywhere in Sword and Shield and in Let's Go, but that's not a thing in this game, or any of the games before it. Let's Go. Other than that, I think the biggest differences are just some moves aren't as good as they are now. Like Leech Life is way weaker, Fury Cutter is way weaker, stuff like that. And that does kind of put a damper on some Pokemon that aren't really able to use good moves at all. Alright, so does this Kakuna have Poison Sting? I don't know. We're gonna switch into Windy here though. If Kakuna only has Harden, then this will just, it'll just take a little bit, but it won't be hard. Does Bug type resist fighting? Yes, okay. I wasn't positive about that. It looks like Kakuna only has Harden, so this will be a long battle, but an easy battle. Those are the only moves off the top of my head though that I know are weaker in this generation. I'm sure there's plenty more. Those are just a lot less moves in general. Of course there's no fairy typing. That was introduced in Gen 6 with Pokemon X and Y. Also, before we beat the Elite Four, there are only Kanto Pokemon in this game, so only the first 150. There are more Pokemon from Gen 2 and Gen 3 after you beat the Elite Four. I don't know how much we'll do of that, if any, if we even get there. Because the nature of a Nuzlocke is that we could game over before actually beating it. Alright, so Wormy's evolving here. So that's good, it'll boost his defense a little bit. So, a little bit about my history with Nuzlockes. I've only actually completed one, and that was Pokemon Blue, and it was probably like 5 or so years ago. I've done a few other Nuzlockes. I just kind of would get bored of them and start over and just like play it a different way. So, oops, I gotta use that antidote. I've done Nuzlockes of X and Alpha Sapphire, but I never finished them. I didn't lose them, I just would get bored of them. I'm not gonna limit my item use outside of battle, by the way. But we do need to be a little bit careful, because money's at a premium this early in the game. Later it's not really going to be an issue, and I probably spent a little too much on Pokeballs. Alright, we got another antidote, so we should be real good with antidotes for the time being. Who do we want to lead with? I think Wormy is fine. We need to focus on getting Wormy up to a Butterfree so that we can go back and fight our rival. But yeah, I like doing Nuzlockes. I'm not like the best Pokemon player in the world or anything, and I don't really find the challenge, like the permadeath part of it, as fun as I do the being forced to like use other Pokemon that I normally wouldn't use. Like normally, for example, I wouldn't really be considering using Butterfree. I'm not usually one to use Pokemon and then drop them later in the game. I like to stick with my Pokemon I'm using, and Butterfree is pretty useful early game, but as the game goes on, it gets less and less useful. So I probably just wouldn't use Butterfree at all. So this is the part of it that's fun for me, is like being challenged to use Pokemon I normally wouldn't use. I usually like to do a lot of team building before I even start up the game. I've always wanted to do a monotype run where you just, some people call them gym leader runs, where you only use one type of Pokemon. So I would consider doing that someday. Can't really do that mixed with a Nuzlocke, so that would just be like its own kind of run. Alright, we're doing fine here. I think we'll get through this. We're not doing the most damage, but he's not doing the most damage either. He has an advantage though. We were a little bit weaker coming into this. We're about even though, so if he uses another string shot, we should be able to take him down. I don't know if he's gonna though. I think we're at the... I'm gonna do one more, because even if he crits, it shouldn't kill us. Alright, now we're at the point where if he crits, we would lose. We probably could take him out with one more though, but I'm not gonna risk it, because we would lose him permanently. And we like Wormy. So let's put, yes, we got Winnie in here. That's some good XP. Alright. What should we do now? I think there's 2 more trainers. So I think I'll just use my last potion here. And then when we go back, we're definitely gonna have to get a refill on those potions. It doesn't look like we're gonna get up to a Butterfree before the first gym unless I grind. So we might just have to go back to the rival and fight him without it. Ooh, Kakuna's... I normally would just ignore them, but this Kakuna will be some good XP. Now I'm kind of worried about running out of PP on Tackle though. If that happens, we won't be able to do any more damage as Wormy. So, ooh, nice. That was pretty big. This should definitely get us up to level 8 at least, and then we're gonna have to switch him in with Mankey or Squirtle. Yeah, if you didn't catch the last episode, I'm playing this on a Game Boy player on the GameCube, with like the cheap Hyperkin HDMI cable. So there is a considerable amount of input lag on this. So if I ever like make some weird moves, that's probably why. I didn't know this was a trainer. I was expecting this to just be somebody I talked to. So he was talking about Pokemon evolving, so all of his Pokemon are probably going to be evolved. I think we're going to have to switch into Mankey here. Actually, it's probably best to switch into Brendan here because he's going to keep using Harden. And Bubble is a special type move, so it's not working off that defense anyway. It's working off a special defense. We're gonna, assuming they're all just Metapods and Kakunas, I'll just switch back and forth with Wormy, get him some experience. We are playing with shift, or with set battle style on, so we don't get that free switch in when the CPU is switching in a Pokemon. I usually always play on set now, only because I don't even care about the challenge part of it usually. I just don't want to have to go through the dialogue of, would you like to change Pokemon every single time? It makes the game take a bit longer. I'm surprised that missed. Oh yeah, I meant to check the abilities of our Pokemon. I normally don't even pay attention to that too much. I mean, maybe abilities, but not like the natures and stuff. Because I'm normally only playing in-game anyway. I guess I'll switch out Wormy still and take the hit to get some XP. I don't know if I might as well just switch back to Squirtle. I was thinking about maybe just tackling him, but we're splitting the XP anyway. That's another thing that's different from the newer games is you don't get the same, you don't get 100% of XP when you switch in the Pokemon. You're dividing it by however many Pokemon see battle. So here, Squirtle's getting half and Caterpie's getting the other half. They're not both getting 100%. And the XP share is not giving XP to everybody in your party. So there's quite a few differences. Things that make it more challenging in these older games, or just things that make it less convenient, depending on how you look at it. It can make it a little bit more grindy, though I never really grind in Pokemon games anyway. I just try to like power through with whatever Pokemon I have at whatever level they're at. But that doesn't really work in a Nuzlocke because that comes with some deaths. So I will probably have to grind a little bit more than I usually do in this one, like I did between these two episodes. So we're going to switch into Squirtle so that we can use Bubble. We're completely fine for the first gym. I really want to do that second rival battle because I feel bad like just leaving it, but it's going to be really dangerous. Squirtle really shouldn't go up against Bulbasaur. Wendy the Mankey could, but Bulbasaur probably has the advantage, assuming it knows Vine Whip. Because Mankey will only be able to use Scratch on it. So our best bet would be to evolve Wormy into Butterfree, and then we learn Confusion. And Bulbasaur is part Poison type, and Psychic is good against Poison, so Confusion would be ideal there. But I don't know if that's going to happen, and I think that that second rival battle goes away if you beat the first gym, but I'm not positive about that. I don't really want to fight him if we don't get up to Butterfree though. It's an optional battle, if that's not clear. And we're going to be like perfectly fine for the first gym. Squirtle's going to wreck it. We got that 4 times weakness on the Rock and Grounds. And even if Squirtle didn't, Mankey could come in. I'm just going to run away from this Weedle because I don't want to risk being poisoned. So this guy uses, I think, only one Pokemon, but it's a pretty strong one, if I remember correctly. Yeah. Yeah, I said in the last episode, though, I haven't actually played LeafGreen in a while. Will 8 tackles do it? I don't know. I can try one. See how much damage it does. That's not a good sign. Ooh, definitely not. I don't know if 8 would even do it. I'm just gonna go for Brendan, I guess. Wendy could probably take him, but it would be close. Yeah, I haven't played... Well, Leaf Green specifically I haven't played probably since it came out. I did play Fire Red, which is, you know, like the same game. I played that, I want to say, 2 years ago, but it was a randomizer, it wasn't a normal playthrough. So it's been a long time since I've done just like a regular old playthrough of Fire Red or Leaf Green. Like probably since close to when it came out. Now we got 2 Pokemon poisoned. Oh man, I don't know if we'll be able to make it to Pokemon Center without using antidotes on them. We'll have to be very careful. Wormy's at level 9. So we might be able to get him to Butterfree. So let's check on our HP here. 21 and 20. So we might make it. This is the grass I was talking about where we can add another party member. I'm gonna make a break for the Pokemon Center. I think we're good. Let me do one check just to make sure. 12 and 13. Yeah, we're fine. Every time it blinks like that, we lose 1 HP, so we're good here. Alright, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna grab a couple more potions while I'm here, and then we'll head over, catch a new Pokemon. Maybe try to get Wormy up to level 10 so we can go fight the rival. We'll see. If I do walk all the way back, I'll cut that walking out. Let's see, potions are 300, wow. Do we have any? We have 1. Alright, I'm not gonna do that then. Money is at a premium right now. I'm trying to think if there's any cool items we can get here. I don't think so. There aren't any serious Pokemon trainers here. They're all like bug catchers, you know, just hobbyists. But Brock, he's a good one. So there's not really anybody interesting we can catch here. I think it's just Pidgey or Rattata, yeah. So this is what we get. We get our Rattata. I'll level Rattata a little bit off camera probably. But I'm not gonna like use him right now. Assuming I even catch him. Let me start thinking of a name here. I think Ralph. Ralph sounds like a good name. Same first 2 letters. At least I'm remembering to do a name. Rest in peace the Pidgey I didn't name. So let's go with Ralph. Hello Ralph. We might use you. I might just ignore him, I don't know. I don't really need to. We have a good team right now with only 3 people. Where am I going? I was thinking about going down to the rival battle. I think let's just go fight some of these people in the gym, and then maybe after that we can go check to see if the rival's still there. We'll have the running shoes at that point, so it'll be better. One thing I don't normally do is take the time to talk to all these NPCs. So let's do that. We might get some items. Most of the ones in the first town here, well, I guess this is technically like the 3rd town, but in the early towns they just like tell you like how to play the game. So if you're already familiar with the game, it's usually not worth talking to them, but there could be some let's see, I'm spraying Repel. There could be some people who are worth talking to. As a matter of fact, I want to talk to the people in this little passage here. They might have something good to give us. Yep, I do know that. Man, the best things the new Pokemon games have done is cut out random encounters. It's so nice that the Pokemon just appear in the overworld. It makes caves and surfing so much better, because you're not encountering a Pokemon every 5 steps at the most. What does this guy gotta say? Check out the museum? Nope. Oh, you're gonna take me there, okay. I don't really need to go to the museum. We can get the Aerodactyl fossil from here later. So, that's actually something I should mention, fossils. I kind of talked about it last time, but we get the old amber from here after we learn cut. But I think there's an item over here. We don't actually get the Aerodactyl unless we use it in Cinnabar Island. So there's a few different Pokemon you can get in Cinnabar Island, but I'm going to of course count that as one area. So we'll basically be picking between Aerodactyl, Holmanite, Kabuto, or there's also an in-game trade there, which it's unlikely we'd be able to get that anyway. But I think that's pretty much it. The Pokemon Mansion that's on Cinnabar Island I would count separately. So, alright, this guy we really gotta be careful because Wormy is weak to rock. Bug type is weak to rock. Windy's pretty weak here, but is super effective, so I don't know how this is gonna go. Low kick also, the damage it does depends on how heavy I think it's how heavy the opponent is, but it might be how heavy you are. Either way, this clearly isn't gonna go in my favor, so I'm gonna switch out to Brendan, who's gonna wreck this guy. The only danger is if there's another rock type, we can't really switch out to Wormy to get the XP, so Brendan's gonna get pretty much all of this. I'm a little under-leveled from where most people probably would want to be in this gym, but like I said, I don't want to grind like too much, because I feel like grinding is really against the spirit of the Nuzlocke. Like if you can just grind as much as you want, then where's the challenge? Like I could just stay in the first area and grind everybody to level 100 if I wanted to. So this was Sandshrew, not a rock type, so I felt comfortable switching in. Though I wouldn't be surprised if he does no Rock Tomb, since I think that's the TM you get here. I'm not sure. In Red and Blue you get the TM Bide, I believe, and I don't know if they changed it in this one or not. I know you get Rock Tomb at the first gym in Ruby and Sapphire, so maybe that's what I'm thinking of. This guy is actually doing a decent amount of damage. If I miss and he crits, we would lose right now, which would be devastating if we lost Squirtle. Then we would be needing to go grind up our girl Windy. Alright. So, but we're good. So I'm definitely going to want to go heal before fighting Brock here. Alright, so where is Windy? Windy is... I'm sorry, not Windy, I meant Wormy. 102 away. Okay, I think that grinding up Wormy, their names are very similar. Grinding up Wormy to a Butterfree and going back to the rival is a good idea. Probably just turn into a Butterfree on the way there, honestly. Just fighting the random battles. So why don't we go ahead and just do that, and then on the next episode we can fight Brock. So we'll close out this episode walking back here. I might get Ralph a couple of levels in between battles, but like I said, I don't know if I'm going to really use him. I mean, Rattata's just not a useful Pokemon in general. Maybe early, but we already have a decent team with these three, so I don't feel the need to like add numbers to it necessarily. Like if we just get these guys up to a good level, I feel like that's sufficient. If I can take this guy out, that'll be some good XP. It's just going to be a matter of whether I get poisoned and how early. I mean, I should be able to either way. Come on, Weedle, you string shot. You know you wanna. There we go. But yeah, I don't really feel the need to use Rattata. Its only advantage really would be just having more Pokemon. If somebody dies and like then I would see a reason to add Rattata to the mix. But before the first gym, I don't really think so. I think I'd rather wait, because we'll get a new Pokemon on the route right after the first gym, and then we'll get another new Pokemon in Mount Moon, so that's already 5. And that's plenty for a good team. So I won't add Ralph to the team unless absolutely necessary, and that would basically just mean like if somebody faints here. And I know I said I would cut out this walk if I did it, but I'm not going to, because because Wormy's going to evolve on it. And I don't want to cut that out. You can probably evolve right after fighting this guy. I apologize if you can hear the controller. I'm using a GameCube controller because I'm playing on a Game Boy player, and the GameCube controller is a decently noisy controller. So if you guys have any suggestions of like more Pokemon stuff to do, I'd love to hear it, because I mean, I love Pokemon. It's probably my favorite franchise. It would be hard for me to pick. The other contender would be Zelda, and I don't know which one I would pick at the end of the day. Like, if I could only play one of them for the rest of my life, it'd probably be Pokemon. But in terms of like which one I think is better, I would say Zelda. The Zelda games are typically higher quality than the Pokemon games, especially recently, as Pokemon's kind of nosedived in quality. I enjoy the new Pokemon games, like Sword and Shield, but I can't pretend like they aren't disappointing. After Wormy evolves, I'll switch out to Windy, get her some experience. Yeah, I enjoy Sword and Shield, but I mean, they are disappointing. They really are. Compared to what they could be and really should be, they're pretty disappointing, but they are fun still. I think that if they added a button just to skip over dialogue, they would be a lot more fun. Oh wow, Wormy has shed skin. I need to check abilities. I've been saying I'm gonna do that for like the last, like this entire episode. But that's good to know, that Wormy has shed skin. Granted, I don't think he's gonna keep it when he evolves, so it's kind of irrelevant. Couldn't have shed it away before the battle ended, huh? Alright. Wormy's gonna evolve now. But yeah, I like Sword and Shield. If you could skip all the dialogue in Sword and Shield and in Sun and Moon, I think they'd be much better games. They'd be much more fun to play. Replays are just a chore because of the constant stopping and constant dialogue. So Wormy learned Confusion. Alright, let me see. That's what I was gonna do. I was gonna check their abilities. So, Mild Nature. I don't really know what the natures do off the top of my head, but like in general, the natures add to some stats and subtract some other stats. So some stats will be better, some will be lower. I think that's all I need to see here. Compound Eye, so that raises accuracy, so that's okay. I don't know like what abilities are possibilities in Gen 3 for each Pokemon or anything like that. But that's a decent ability. Butterfree doesn't really have any low accuracy moves right now anyway, so we're not really making use of it, but that's okay. So you can see Butterfree has good special attack, so that's going to be good for Confusion, because Psychic type moves are special types. I don't think anything actually says that in this gen, but yeah. So that's going to be awesome for Bulbasaur, basically. Bubble is actually weaker than I thought it was. So that's only 20 power. Because Squirtle is a water type, it adds a 1.5 multiplier to it. So it actually has like a base of 30 power if Squirtle's using it. And we can see Squirtle's special attack and attack are actually the same. So, in general, Tackle is actually a little more strong than Bubble, assuming the foe has equal defense and special defense. He probably has Torrent, yeah, which ups water type attacks if he has low HP. And he has a Rash Nature. Don't know what that means, like I said. Serious Nature for Windy. Vital Spirit prevents sleep, okay. That's okay. Good speed, good attack. Kind of a glass cannon. It's got low defense. Low kick inflicts more damage on heavier foes. So it's the foe's weight that matters. So like Onyx, for example, would probably get hurt pretty badly from low kick. Let me use an antidote on Wormy. And then get Windy out front here. And we'll go a little bit long on this episode so we can get the second rival battle in there, and then I'll walk back off camera while maybe leveling Ralph a few levels as an emergency plan. But yeah, if anybody has any suggestions for more Pokemon games, I'd love to hear them. I know there's a lot of fan games out there. I don't really know which ones are like the good ones because I've never really gotten into this scene. I've just stuck with the official Pokemon games for the most part. I personally think Pokemon peaked with Gen 4 with Platinum, Heart Gold, and Soul Silver. Though I do kind of prefer Gen 2 still. But that's mostly a nostalgia thing. I think in terms of quality, Gen 4 was the peak. But I don't think Black and White were too far behind. I just think the art quality suffered as they tried to make things more 3D and make the sprites move. I really can't stand the back sprites in Black and White because they're all pixelated, because they're not actually sprites, they're like moving images. I really hate that. We didn't actually get any levels for Windy, but that's okay. But yeah, I really hate the back sprites in Black and White, and it makes me never want to play it because it's just so ugly to look at. But other than that, I think the games are pretty good. So I think Gen 4 was the peak, and then Gen 5 was a dip, but not too much. And then I do like Gen 6 a lot, but that was definitely a dip after Gen 5. And then same with Gen 7, like I like Sun and Moon, but I think it's about equal with Gen 6. So let's go ahead and fight our rival now. He leads with either a Pidgey or a Spearow. I don't know what it is in this game. I think it's a Pidgey at level 9. Spearow was in Pokemon Yellow, but I think these work more off of Red and Blue than Yellow. By the way, did your Pokemon get any stronger? I should really read this dialogue. I've played this game so many times, or these games, not this one specifically, but like Red, Blue, Yellow, Fire Red, Leaf Green, Let's Go Pikachu, and Eevee. Between all of them, I've played it like a million times. So I'll go with Bubble. I mean, like I just figured out, Tackle's a little bit stronger, but Bubble does have the chance to lower speed, which could be helpful. Ooh. That's not great. I don't really think I need to use the status move, so he just got lucky with the crit. And I'm switching out when Bulbasaur comes in anyway. One more should do it. And then we're going to switch into Wormy when Bulbasaur comes out. I don't know if it's level 10 or level 8. Okay, it's level 9. I also don't know if he has Vine Whip. He might learn Vine Whip at level 10, and he might learn Leech Seed at level 11 instead. So I'm not sure. We might not find out. Because we're going to two-shot him, hopefully. Yeah, so, I mean, this kind of demonstrates how Wormy is really useful in the early game. But as we go on, like, I think Wormy is just really useful because it's like a fully evolved Pokemon this early. But as you go on, he doesn't really get stronger fast enough like a lot of the other Pokemon do, so he doesn't really keep up. I heard the Pokemon League is crawling with tough trainers. I have to figure out how to get past them. You should quit dawdling and get a move on. Yeah, so we can actually like head over and look inside of the Elite Four. We just can't actually go in it. It's just kind of a cool thing in this game, because most games, like, you can't even go past the initial gate unless you have all 8 badges. But in this one, it lets you pass each gate one at a time as you get more badges. So I'll just show it. Obviously, we don't even have the first badge though, so we can't go past the first gate. But once you get the boulder badge, you can go through. It's pretty cool. So you could go a little bit further every badge you get, instead of just all at once. So yeah, well, that's all the time we have for today. So I will walk back to Brock, and we will start the next episode by facing Brock, and I'll get Ralph a few levels on the way there. Maybe. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed today. Have a great day, and I will see you tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Bye.